But I got to tell you, I was having a conversation with Rebecca yesterday. Let me tell you what I found out about her in just a very brief time that we spent together. She is focused. She is driven. When she walks into a room, she's going to cut a knife right through it. No nonsense, no bullshit, walk in person. She comes with it quick, too. She's a best-selling author. She's a speaker. And she has a program specifically for people who are dealing with narcissists. She is also a partner in Long, Murphy, and Zung. So please give her a nice apex welcome to the stage, Mrs. Rebecca Zung!
Okay, who wants to talk about narcissists? Yeah. I mean, this is definitely the most fun part of the program, right? Everybody wants to talk about narcissists, right? Okay, so here's what I want to ask you right now. I want to ask you to picture a time in your life, any time, when you were in a relationship, business or personal, where the person started off super charming, super charismatic, absolutely, probably the most charismatic, personable, amazing person that you ever met in your life. And they made you feel like you were the most incredible, special human being that they ever met in your life. Immediately came on super strong, and the stars aligned right away. Like, where has this person been all of your life? Business or personal? Right away. And they wanted to rush the relationship along. Immediately, let's get to the next level, because why wait? The stars have aligned, right? You are amazing, they are amazing. If it's business, get to the contracts. Let's sign the contracts. Because everything has lined up perfectly. If it's personal, let's meet the family. Let's meet the kids. You guys are soulmates, right? Immediately, let's get to the next level right away. Let's get married. Let's move in. It's almost overpowering, intoxicating, right? So you get to that next level right away, because the worlds have been rocked. And so there you are, locked in. And almost as soon as you are locked in with this person, you start to see red flags, lies, or stories aren't adding up. And now you ask them, what's going on? And they have explanations that aren't adding up. somebody else's fault. Something's going on in their lives. Projection, deflection, somebody else is doing something. Or now maybe it's your fault. You have a problem. You're seeing things, you're blowing things out of proportion. Or they say, you are reading too much into it. You're crazy. Now suddenly, you are seeing things that you're not. Or they say, we talked about that, and you agreed, don't you remember? And you know you never had that conversation. And you start to think maybe you're going crazy. And maybe you start to think, what's going on? And maybe you start to think, maybe they're talking about you behind your back. And you start to get this gut feeling like something's off. But now you're in it. And you feel like maybe you can't trust them. And now you're starting to wake up in the middle of the night and you're thinking about it, and maybe you're starting to feel paranoid, and maybe you're starting to obsess about it, and maybe you start to feel like it's eating away at your soul. Maybe you start feeling like it even is draining the life out of you eventually. If any of you have ever experienced anything like this, and you feel comfortable admitting to it, raise your hand. Yeah, my hand is raised too. I've been there. So first of all, I want to acknowledge any of you who felt comfortable raising your hand. It takes a hell of a lot of courage to admit when we've been in toxic relationships. It's probably a hell of a lot of us here. We have a name for that kind of a person. That name is a narcissist. Now, I could sit here and tell you I know all about narcissists and how to negotiate with narcissists because I am an attorney who trains people on how to negotiate with narcissists because I have represented billionaires and celebrities, and that's why I know. But that is not my why. It was actually just 2 years ago that I started doing videos on YouTube, just 2 years ago. And I started doing videos on how to negotiate in general. And I was getting roughly 30 views on how to negotiate in general. And I'm pretty sure they were all just my mom and her church friends. Not even kidding. And then I did one video on how to negotiate with a narcissist. And now I had a conundrum. Because I thought, man, I know if I want to get more views, I'm going to have to do more videos on how to negotiate with a narcissist. And I said to my husband, I really don't know if I want to be the narcissism queen. And my husband was like, you know, you're helping people, just so go with it. And I thought, well, I guess. Now, why was I able to speak with such authenticity about how to negotiate with a narcissist? Because I personally had found myself not long before that in a relationship with someone separate and apart from my law practice, in a business partnership with someone who turned out to be a narcissist. That relationship caused me a tremendous amount of angst, a tremendous amount of anxiety, caused me to lose sleep, and sent me into a tailspin, which ultimately caused me to read hundreds of books on the topic of narcissism, frankly. And while I knew a hell of a lot about how to negotiate, to the point of having been the keynote speaker on that topic at the American Bar Association, I sure as hell didn't know that much about narcissism. So now, I stand before you just 2 years later. It was really just March of 2020 that I started doing YouTube videos. So here I am just 2 years later, and I have more than 22 million views on YouTube. Yeah. And I've sold nearly 7,000 of my Slay Your Negotiation with a Narcissist programs. Why? Because people know that I've been there too. Now, I really didn't want to talk about the fact that I had been there too initially. And I'm going to tell you more about my story of dealing with a narcissistic business partner here as I go through my SLAY methodology. But I'll tell you, I didn't really want to be talking about that because, I was supposed to be strong. I was supposed to be the badass attorney. And, having to lay there in the middle of the night thinking I was going crazy, dealing with that person, I was thinking, how the hell did this happen to me? But I needed to get over the blame and shame and just start talking about it. And start thinking, how did this happen for me? And maybe, just maybe, this is all happening for a reason. Maybe this is supposed to be my mission in life, right? Maybe I'm supposed to be a voice for this. And so now I do believe that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and I do believe that this is what I am supposed to be teaching. And so now it is my mission to help people break free from toxic relationships and help people negotiate their best lives. So now, what is a narcissist? I can definitely tell you it is not just somebody who is selfish. No. You need to picture a person who is totally and completely empty inside. This is a person who is, you have to picture a person who feels empty and has a black hole inside of them. This is a person who feels like they are starving or desperate for air. So they can't see you. They can't feel anything about you. Let me say that again. They can't feel anything about you because they feel like they have a black hole inside of them. They want you to fill it, and you might want to fill it too, but they can't receive okay? It's almost as if they are starving, okay? They are in survival mode all the time. And it's like scarcity to the utmost extreme, all right? Now, why do so many people discover my videos? While there's been this pandemic going on, I believe there's been an epidemic, a narcissism epidemic. They estimate that 6.2% of the population has narcissistic personality disorder. I believe that's a low number because it's not like these people are walking around going, get tested in psychologist offices. So who the hell knows? But say 6.2% of the population, if you add in antisocial personality disorders or disorders that lack empathy, it's up to 10%. It ends up to be 1 in 25 if you put all of that together, okay? If each one of those people emotionally abuses just 5 people in their lifetimes, and by the way, it is a spectrum, that adds up to be 158 million people in the US alone, or 3.4 billion people globally. Let that sink in. That's billion with a B. Okay? That's nearly half of us. Okay? And as I said, including me, I will tell you, there is kind of a cool story, which I'm going to tell you about later, about how narcissism and In-N-Out Burger came together in my world in a very cool way. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. Now, who recoils just hearing the word narcissist? Just the word. Yeah, me too. Which brings me to the name of my talk, Slay Your Negotiation with a Narcissist. Like, does that sound contradictory to you in some way? Like, most people go, you can't negotiate with a narcissist. Like, don't even bother to try. Right? You can't. Why bother even trying? Right? So, here's what I'm going to say to that. It's absolutely worth trying. You know why? Because narcissists are actually way more afraid of you than you are of them. Here's what I know. Everyone else is telling you that trying to negotiate with narcissists is futile. A total waste of time. Don't bother trying. I'm telling you that you can absolutely win every single time. That with the right understanding of how narcissists think and with the right framework, you absolutely can win every single time. I know firsthand the drama, trauma, and chaos that narcissists cause, believe me. So what I'm going to give you today is my framework for how to shift the dynamic, shift the conversation, and shift the dynamic of power so that you will understand and feel more confident and empowered in every single aspect of your life, okay? All right. Before we dive in, a little bit more about me. I am half Chinese and half German, which by definition, of course, means that I have absolutely no fun genes whatsoever. Yeah. So, I graduated second in my class from high school. So my version of rebellion somehow was to get married at 19, and I had 3 kids by the time I was 22. Yeah. My oldest, actually, the one who's sitting in the chair next to me, is actually with me today. Alex is with me today, somewhere here in the audience. I can't see him here, but he is here with me somewhere here. Yeah? He works with me. Then I got divorced in my 20s. I went back to law school as a single mom, 100% on student loans. Yeah, I definitely know struggle. And then I met my husband in law school, and we've been married for 22 years, and I have a 20-year-old daughter with my husband. So I have 4 kids total. So I definitely know struggle. I want you to know that I went from this to this. Yeah. So along the way, I built one of the top family law practices in Naples, Florida. And as of a few years ago, my practice was bursting, but I had absolutely no life. And so I decided that I wanted to do other entrepreneurial things. And so I decided to merge my practice with 2 other partners who I'm still law partners with today, not narcissists, thank you very much. And neither of my husbands have been narcissists either, thank you. But what I want you to understand is that even with all of this, I still had to deal with a narcissist. It was just a couple of years after I decided to do all of this that I decided to branch out into doing entrepreneurial ventures. Because I do this, my law partners allow me to do what I do today. I now have these law partners that allow me to do what I do, okay? And one of the ventures that I got into a couple of years ago was with this narcissist. I want you to see this because I want you to know that if it could happen to me, it could happen to anyone. Narcissists don't target people because they have so little value. They target people because they have so much. Yeah. That's why they target you. Okay? They deeply covet what everyone else has. And I want you to remember that. Okay, now, narcissists. When you go to negotiate with them, they love to trigger you. They love to get under your skin. So if you're trying to negotiate with them and you're trying to do it in a regular, reasonable person way, you absolutely will fail every single time. All right? So you have to have a framework. You have to do it in a certain type of a way. All right? So here, I've had people who have grabbed onto my framework like a lifeline and been able to snap narcissists back into place like a rubber band. It's absolutely incredible. Because I've had to deal with narcissists myself, I've been able to create a framework. Okay, so here is my Slayer negotiation with a narcissist framework. S stands for strategy. You have to start with a strategy. You have to create a vision as part of that strategy. And yes, after you create the vision, you will also create action steps and you will do research, and there's a lot that goes into strategy. But the most important part is the vision, okay? Now, so many times when you are dealing with a narcissist, you're like a turtle on your back. You feel like you're just defending yourself all the time. You forget actually to create a vision. You forget to figure out where the hell you're going, right? Because you're just like, oh my God, like, I'm just like arrows coming at me all the time. But if you don't figure out where it is that you're going, you are certainly never gonna get there. Okay, so now, when I was dealing with that narcissistic business partner, I had created a venture. This person came along, saw my nice shiny object. Oh, I have all the perfect business contacts. But, you know, in order for me to bring them in, my name needs to be on it. So I put her name on it. And of course, her amazing contacts, none of them materialized. Then this person, she promised to do things for the business, never followed through, started making promises to the clients, didn't follow through with them, was lying to me, lying to the clients, not following through on things for the clients. And it was literally making me crazy, making me paranoid, lining up flying monkeys, doing the whole thing that all the narcissistic things that narcissists do, okay? And during this time in my life, I went on a vacation with my husband and my youngest daughter, okay? Here we are in this moment. We go up this beautiful mountain, gorgeous vacation, my, people that I love the most, mountaintop, dream, here we are in this moment. What am I thinking of when we're in this dream, beautiful moment, top of a mountain, sunrise, gorgeous. My daughter's like, oh, Mom, it's heaven on earth. And there we are. And what do I think of? This narcissist person pops into my head. And in that moment, I just said to myself, no. You do not get to be here with me. No, this is not okay. And in that moment, something just shifted for me. Everything changed. The person who walked up that mountain was not the person who walked down that mountain, because I made a decision. I realized in that moment that every moment that I gave that person, I was allowing myself to be a victim. And I want you all to realize the power of a decision. Do you know what the root of the word decide is? It's actually side, to kill, to cut off. And so I made a decision to create a powerful vision for myself in that moment, to no longer be a victim, but to be a victor instead. So I made a decision to create a powerful vision, and that was to finish the negotiation book that I had already started, and to get the hell out of a toxic relationship that was no longer serving me. That negotiation book went to #1 the day that it was released. Yeah. All because I made a decision to create a powerful vision. All right? L stands for leverage. This is where you're going to motivate and squeeze the narcissist into wanting to come to the table with you. This is very, 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 very important. This is one of the most critical steps to negotiating with narcissists. Okay? Now, I gave you my definition of a narcissist, but what makes them tick? Okay? Narcissists don't think like regular reasonable people, and they are not motivated or incentivized by the same things that regular reasonable people are. They are motivated and incentivized by one thing, and one thing only. That's the good news. The only thing that narcissists are motivated by is that narcissistic supply. That's it. That's the key to the kingdom. If you want to be able to negotiate with narcissists or communicate with narcissists, you need to understand that. Narcissistic supply. All right? Narcissistic supply is anything that feeds a narcissist's ego. Right? And they need an endless amount of it, and it all goes into this black hole. Now, here's the thing. Narcissistic supply is anything that goes in, and they're like vultures. They're always looking for the next source of it, and they're always looking for a better source of it. Now, here's the thing. There's two levels of it. There's a hierarchy. There's something that I call diamond level supply. Diamond level supply is anything that's like grade A. It's like the best form of it. It's how they look. It's adulation. It's power. It's money. It's anything. It's external. And they will protect and defend this at any cost. And then there's what I call tier 2, what I call coal level supply. Coal level supply is what I call the dark underbelly of narcissistic supply. And coal level supply is like bullying, controlling, degrading. It's manipulating. It's also something that they love, okay? But it's just one level down, all right? Now, let me show you how it works. It's a huge myth when it comes to negotiating with narcissists. Most people think narcissists just want to win. That myth is dead wrong. And let me tell you why. Winning only takes into account one form of narcissistic supply, and that is diamond level supply. It totally ignores and forgets about coal level supply, all right? It totally ignores the fact that narcissists also love to manipulate you, make you squirm, and just generally make your life miserable. So winning, sure, they love that too, but they also love to manipulate you, make you squirm, and just generally make your life miserable. And so you cannot negotiate in a regular, reasonable person way with somebody who's enjoying and getting off on making you miserable. All right? So for example, like, you can't just give a narcissist empathy. That's like, that just gives them narcissistic supply. It's totally the wrong thing if not done tactically in a specific way. All right? So, you have to do a little something that I call ethically manipulating the manipulator. All right? So, what I mean by that is you have to find a way to make the narcissist feel like their diamond level source of supply might be exposed so that they will want to let go of the coal level supply. Tactically, you can't actually expose them, because if you do, then your leverage is gone. So let me give you an example. I had a divorce case, where I was representing the wife. The husband was the CEO of a public Fortune 10 company. Wife found out, the husband had all the power in the marriage. He thought he had all the power in the divorce. He was doing all the things during the divorce that narcissists do. You know, making her squirm, making her miserable. But then during the course of the divorce, the wife found out some things that, should they become public, would ruin him. During the course of the divorce, she let it be known that maybe this information might become public. So he decided to let go of the coal-level supply, i.e. jerking her around, because he wanted to protect and defend his reputation. Therefore, we were able to get the case settled, meaning she used the SLAY methodology. Get it? All right, moving on to the A in SLAY. The A stands for anticipate. This is where you're going to anticipate what the narcissist is going to do and be 2 steps ahead of them, both in their arguments and how they're going to behave. Now, you know that the narcissist wants to manipulate you. You know that they want to provoke you, bother you, all right? So you don't allow them to do that, right? For a number of reasons. One is, obviously, they get supply from it. Number 2 is they use your emotional reactions against you, right? I don't even have time today to go into all of how they do that. And then number 3 is, as long as they're getting supply from you, they will never, ever, 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 ever leave you alone. They get fuel from that, all right? And then the next thing I'm going to tell you is, you know that they carefully and curate all of those emails and texts just to get under your skin. So the first thing I'm going to say to you is, don't try to defend yourself. Because if you try to defend yourself, then you are literally giving them control. You know that, right? So don't do that. When you try to do that, don't, all right? So instead, I want you to stand in your power. Stand in your power and go on the offensive. You want to go on the offensive, all right? So I'm going to give you 3 ways to go on the offensive right now, all right? All right, so the first one is a tactical response I'm going to call the middle finger, all right? That's a nice way of calling it the middle finger, all right? Yeah. So, just the facts. So when you get those long emails or texts, all right? You know, those long ones, you know what I mean, where you just want to go like, right? So first of all, you do not want to do what you want to do, where you just want to like go off on them, right? Don't do that, because that's what they want. You're down in the mud. So you want to look at the situation as if you are completely disengaged. Pretend like you're reporting the news, like, just information. Just give them information, right? Never explain, justify, or overshare, right? You don't get emotional. So, but every once in a while, in that sea of crap that they send you, that whole sea of crap that they send you, there might be like 1 or 2 things that you need to respond to. So, here's how I want you to respond. I want you to remember this slide, right? You're going to remember this slide, right? The middle finger. This is one of my favorite slides. And you're going to say, okay, here's an example. I'm in receipt of your correspondence. I deny everything, all your allegations, and we can meet at 3 o'clock on Wednesday. Get it? Right? Who likes this slide? Yeah, exactly. All right? Here's another way. Making a plan, Stan. So what you're going to do here is you're going to have an agenda or a plan when you go talk to them. So, or a time limit, or both. So you go in there and you say, hey, we have a scope of a topic today. If it goes off topic, then you just say, respectfully, let's go back to the topic of the day. Or if you go beyond the time limit, you can just say, I have a previous engagement, but I look forward to our next meeting. Thank you very much. That's it. And this is you taking control. This is you walking forward and not backward. All right? And one more. Fluff for favor, vomit later. All right? This is where you give them some of that diamond level supply that they love so much in the form of fluffing up their ego. So you're going to fluff up their ego like you fluff up a pillow. All right? So here's how that one goes. You go in there and you say something like, can you handle the QuickBooks this month? You are so much more efficient at it, and it would get done so much more quickly and efficiently than if I did it. Something like that. And you make sure that you don't say anything good about yourself because they don't want to hear that. And make sure that you don't have any kind of sarcastic tone or anything like that, because narcissists hear tones, like dogs hear whistles. Like, even if there's no tone, they definitely hear tone. Am I right? Yeah? Okay, so something like that. You give them a little something, something that they want. You get a little something, something that you want. Everybody's happy, right? And, if you need to go shower or vomit later, then that's what you do. And that's why I call it fluff for favor, vomit later, right? All right, last one is focus on you and your position. Now, when you're dealing with narcissists or with anyone, any kind of negotiation, you want to focus on being offensive. The best football teams, or any kind of team, they don't win on a good defense, right? You win on a good offense. Offense scores points, right? 99% of winning happens before you show up. You focus on your own mindset. When you decide that you are a winner, you actually also get to decide what people think of you. And for me, one of the most powerful ways that this lesson was taught to me was when I was making a transition a few years ago. I actually was practicing law for a few years, and then I left for like 2 years to become a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley. I got my Series 7 and 66, and then I went back to practicing law to start my law practice. And at the time, I hired a business coach, and I remember lamenting so much to my business coach. I said, oh man, the people of this very small, affluent community of Naples, Florida, this very small, judgy town of Naples, Florida, they're just gonna think I am such a flake. She was a lawyer, she's a financial advisor, back to being a lawyer. And my business coach said to me, people will think what you tell them to think. She said, you can tell them to think that you're a flake, Or you can tell them to think that you're the only lawyer that has a financial background, so you're actually more qualified than any other family law attorney. Which story would you like to tell? So guess which story I told? And within 2 years, I had one of the top family law practices in the state, representing billionaires and celebrities, people who very obviously weren't going to hire a flake. Yeah. People will think what you tell them to think. You and you alone define your value. Hey, listen, you know what? You always have to keep your mindset in check. I joke all the time that I'm never allowed to leave my thoughts unsupervised. I always have to keep my mindset in check. But the truth of the matter is that with the right understanding of how narcissists think and the right framework, that you can slay your negotiation with narcissists. There will always be narcissists in this world, and they will always be toxic. So you have to focus on you. On that mountain, I decided to focus on me. So I want you to grab this free gift at winmynegotiation.com and focus on you, all right? I want to also tell you about my In-N-Out story. Lindsay Snyder Ellingson found me. She's the owner of In-N-Out Burger. Found me on YouTube dealing with narcissists herself. I started coaching her, and now we founded a foundation together, a 501c3 for legal aid that is now helping people with for family law, human trafficking, veterans, because that is my mission. I know my why. I know my WHY and my why. It is my mission to help people break free from toxic relationships and to negotiate their best lives. Yes, that is because I made a decision on that mountain, right? You have the power. You have always had it. Every time you decide you are a winner, you are a winner. That's when you truly slay. The why, the deciding factor, is you. Namaste. Thank you very much. Whoa.
Friends and family, Mrs. Rebecca Zung.